Alright, so this is the Russian wood stove in action. We're in our teepee. That's my homemade stove jack there. This is a teepee. We're actually on the snow. This is snow. We're just floating on snow right now. So I'm actually using the plate that came with it. That way the legs don't sink in the snow. There's the, let me turn my head around. You can see the stove running, and it's warm. It's super cold out there, and it's probably, how high do you think it is in here, Levi?
Probably like 120.
Like 80?
Yeah.
80 degrees in here? I mean, it is cooking in here. So it's really nice. It's working great. I have like 2 logs in there, apple wood. I don't know what other wood I have in here, but it's nice dry wood that I have. It's hardwood. Both of them are apple wood, and this is either maple or oak. Something that I got from home. We're out here on the snow. I got some Tyvek, some reflective, and some hard, some foam, solid foam pads, and then some insulated pads, down jackets or down quilts. This is the first time burning it. And let me put some snow up on top. Look at that. Check it out. So it's really hot. It's almost a little too hot. I wish we could regulate it a little bit better. But this thing is burning amazing. It's awesome. I love it. I got some wood down here just to kind of keep it in place, to weigh it down here. And how you doing, Levi?
Cozy.
Are you warm? It's
Cozy.
warm, huh?
Yeah.
It's super, super, super warm. I think I'm gonna have to get a different teepee, a little bit bigger teepee. This is like a 3-4 person teepee, but I'm gonna get a bigger one. But the heat is drying the inside of the teepee because it's so warm in here, and it's making it all nice and dry. I'm not sure about the snow, how it's gonna, if it's gonna melt some of the snow here or what it's gonna do, but I might have put too much wood in there, like 2 logs, and it's just super, super hot.
I don't think it'll melt it because
No?
it's off the ground.
Right, yeah. But anyway, this stove is working flawlessly. It's working amazing. So, all right. Hi there. So this is just a look at the Russian wood stove after burning it on a weekend trip. So here's the spark arrestor. It got a little deformed, and I think it's probably the way I had the pipe set up a little lean, but it was red hot. I'll put some footage of how hot this thing got, and it was red hot. This is how the stove looks after it's been burnt. It's got some nice blue color to it, and put it together. that's it. Little door, a little dirty. Little spark arrestor, part there, and then press it down a little, turn it, and let's take a look. Another thing I want to do is take some measurements for you, because I didn't take measurements of it, and so I want to do that, and I want to put this together so you can see how it goes together. So this is the rings for the stovepipe. I'm gonna get some gloves here. Might need help putting it together, but let's see if I can do it. So this comes down like that. And let's look at the inside of that. So it's a little sooty. And then we're gonna roll it together. These you want them away from that notch at first, and then you can slide them down later, and I'll show you why in a minute. Okay, so I'm gonna let these go here. And then I'm gonna let that one kind of flare up. And the reason for that is because you want to install this on here and allow that little lip to fall in place there. Then once that is in there, then you slide your rings back onto the end of the pipe. So, and then that's locked in place. And you can slide the other ones down like that, and that's it. Okay, then this goes, and here you start one end of it, and then you're gonna push it in like that. Okay. So this would be in your stove jack, and that would hold it in. So under 7 foot. Okay. 78 inches. The stove itself, from the bottom to the top, 15 inches. From the top of the stove to the top of the spark arrestor, 4 inches. The stove pipe alone, let's take it out. Okay, so the stove pipe by itself, we got 55 3/8 of an inch. This little adapter that goes onto the spark arrestor is about 6 inches. The diameter is 3 inches. The box itself here, this way, is 14 3/8, 11 inches, 10 inches. From the top, or from the bottom to the top of the stove is about 15 1/8. The rods themselves, they're about 15 1/2. Look at the door. The door is 7 3/4 from here to here, and it is about 6 1/2. About 6 1/2. The opening, I'll read it this way, 7 3/8, 7 3/8. And just a little bit under 6 inches, like 5 15/16. The little holes, are about 9/16 of an inch in diameter. What else can I tell you? If I put it in here, that measurement is about 13 1/4, 13 5/16. And if I go in here like that, it should be the same on top, but just for, it's about 10 3/8. So you can fit a little log in there, you know, 13 inches or less. It's 13 5/16. So that is that. That's some measurements. One of the things that I noticed when I was burning it is that there's no adjustment for these holes here. So if you wanted to turn it down a little, there's no way of doing it. But I don't think you really need it. I mean, you could just burn it, and eventually this is gonna fill up with ash a little bit, and it's gonna, you know, cover some of those holes a little bit. It's just gonna work fine. It's gonna work perfect. It worked amazing for me. I didn't have to do anything. That's one thing that came into my mind, that there was no way to cover those holes. And this little latch here, you have to have gloves to hold on to it, or have a plier or something, because you know you'll burn yourself. But everything is designed so that it works without any issues. It worked perfectly. When I was done, I took it apart and it cooled down super fast. Put it away quickly, so it worked great. I'll put some video of this working. This thing here, I keep calling it spark arrestor, and it does function as a spark arrestor, but it's also, and it might be more so, a baffle than a spark arrestor, which it does both things. But basically it traps the heat in here and some of the flame, and it makes it stop and stay within the stove before it goes out the chimney. Although I did have flames at one point, I had some flames going out of the top of the chimney because it was so hot. It was burning so clean. But it does keep the heat inside, so you burn less wood and you burn it more efficiently without much smoke. Another thing that I noticed is that there's a lot of little spaces, like little holes that you can see. Like, so when you're burning, you see a lot of flames kind of like coming through little cracks. But there's negative pressure in there, and it's not gonna smoke out of the stove. That's what happened in my case, and I noticed that there was no smoke coming in. I did get some smoke return one time when I was loading it. I left it open a little too long, and I was messing around in there, and I noticed that the wood that I was burning wasn't like burning right or something. I got a little bit of smoke coming out, but there's a lip here that is about 1 1/8 lip that helps with that smoke. So if you don't have no lip here, you might get a little more, but it wants to go naturally that way. And once it's hot and the stove's gonna suck that up, you're hardly gonna get any smoke coming out. But you are gonna notice, you know, a few cracks here and there, but that's okay, that's fine. It works just fine. That's about it. I don't have any concerns. It worked amazing for me. I loved it, and I highly recommend it. All right, thanks for watching.